Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're doing something a little different. We're going to really get into a few specific words.
Yeah, words that seem pretty basic on the surface, right? But when you dig in, there's a lot there.
Exactly. We're looking at words that describe concepts like distance, renewal, keeping things, taking things in. Fundamental stuff, really.
That's right. These aren't just random picks. They pop up again and again because they capture core ways we frame our experiences. We'll unpack them.
Think of it as, I don't know, a mini linguistic expedition. We want to understand the different layers, the subtle flavors each word has.
So you can really get a feel for why we choose one word over another. It should be interesting to see how these familiar terms hold up under the microscope.
Okay, let's jump in. First up, remote. When you hear that, you probably think far away.
That's definitely the starting point.
Yeah.
As an adjective, it fundamentally means, situated far from population centers or simply distant. But the interesting bit, and what comes through in how we use it, is that it often carries this extra weight, a sense of isolation or maybe inaccessibility.
So it's not just about the miles, it's about the feeling of being separate or hard to reach.
Precisely. Think about renting a cabin in a remote mountain area.
Okay.
It signals distance, sure, but it also suggests seclusion, maybe peacefulness, and probably that you won't have great cell service.
Huh, right. Or exploring a remote island. It sounds adventurous, maybe a bit untouched or undiscovered because it's remote.
Exactly. That inaccessibility, that sense of being off the map, is often bundled into the word. It adds a whole layer of meaning.
So physical distance is key, but with added implications. What other kinds of remoteness are there?
Well, there's the purely physical, like the examples you might think of,
Mm.
a remote village without electricity, or traveling to a remote part of the desert.
Places far from everything.
Yeah, searching for someone lost in a remote forest, or finding peace in the remote wilderness. These all lean heavily on being geographically far from populated zones, often implying limited services too.
And what about remote work? That's common now. Still about distance, I guess.
It is, fundamentally. It means you're geographically distant from the main office, the central hub.
Okay, but then what about the remote control for the TV? That's not isolated or miles away?
That's a neat one. It uses the core idea differently. It's the device that lets you operate the TV from a distance.
Ah, okay. So the distance part is key to its function.
Exactly. It enables control remotely, across space. The name emphasizes that function of acting from afar. The core idea holds.
Like remote sensing technology, using satellites or drones to observe things from way up high.
Precisely that. Or think about scientists studying a volcano in a remote and hazardous region.
Definitely distant and hard to reach.
Or spacecraft sending data back from a remote galaxy. The distance and inaccessibility are central there.
Okay, this next one really caught my eye, though. It's quite a remote chance that we'll win the lottery. That's not about physical space at all, is it?
No, it's not. And that's where language gets really cool, using spatial ideas metaphorically.
How so?
When we say a chance is remote, we mean it's unlikely. It's far off or hard to reach in terms of probability.
Like it's distant from becoming a reality.
Exactly, a very small likelihood. The core concept of being far off or difficult to get to is still there, just applied abstractly to chances instead of places.
Wow. Okay, so remote can be physical distance plus isolation. It can be about operating something from afar, or it can be about low probability.
That's a great summary. It's versatile. So next time you encounter remote, it's worth asking, are we talking miles, access,
Mm,
or just how likely something is? Understanding that context really unlocks the specific meaning.
good point. It shows how words stretch and adapt.
Okay, let's shift gears from distance to bringing things back. Let's look at restoration and restore, a related pair.
Right. Restoration, that's the noun, the act or process of returning something.
Yes, returning something to a former condition or place or position. It strongly implies a process of repairing, renewing. Basically bringing something back to life or back to how it was or maybe how it should be.
Like fixing something up after it's decayed or been damaged.
Exactly. Bringing it back towards its original state or at least a better state. And it applies really broadly.
I'm thinking of physical things first, like the restoration of an old painting. That can take ages.
Absolutely. Or the restoration of historic buildings downtown.
Or maybe restoring antique furniture, a broken clock, faded artwork.
All good examples of fixing physical objects. But it's much wider than that.
How so?
Think about the restoration of a natural habitat for endangered animals.
Ah, okay. Environmental renewal.
Right. Or the restoration of an old forest by planting native trees. Or even the restoration of clean water access to a community. It's about fixing ecosystems or improving living conditions.
And it gets even more abstract, doesn't it? Like the restoration of health after you've been sick.
Yes, or psychological restoration after a trauma. We even talk about the restoration of public trust or diplomatic relations between countries.
Or even political systems, like the restoration of a monarchy after it was abolished.
Fascinating, isn't it?
Mm.
It covers bringing back physical things, but also states of being, conditions, relationships, even entire systems that were lost or damaged.
Okay, so restoration is the whole process, the noun, and restore is the verb, the doing part.
Precisely. To restore is to perform that action, to bring back something previous or repair or renovate it towards its original or perhaps a safe condition. It's the active work involved.
So you restore an old castle, making it grand again.
Right. Or you carefully restore a damaged painting.
You restore a park that was vandalized, or maybe a church after a fire. Those are the hands-on actions.
Right. But just like restoration, the verb restore also works for non-physical things.
Like how a good night's sleep helps restore your energy.
Perfect example. Or a vacation can restore your peace of mind.
An apology might help restore a friendship.
Exactly. Or governments might introduce policies to restore public confidence or aim to restore economic stability. Maybe meditation helps restore your focus.
So you're bringing back feelings, trust, stability, just like you bring back the original look of a building.
Yes. And nature again, too. Rain can help restore parched land.
Or a conservation group works to restore native plants. You can even restore rights to people.
Precisely. So the verb restore covers both the physical repair and the reestablishment of a condition or state, which again raises that interesting question.
What does it really mean to bring something back to its original or best state, especially when it's something abstract like trust or peace of mind?
Exactly. Is it ever truly the original state? Or is it more about creating a new, better state that maybe resembles an idealized past? It makes you think about what better or original actually means in each situation.
That's deep. It's not just fixing, it's often about aiming for an ideal. All right, shifting again. Let's talk about words for keeping things. We've got retain and retention. Retain is the verb first.
Yes, retain. To retain means to continue to have something, basically to keep hold of it.
Like not losing it.
Exactly. Preventing its loss or its sale, or maybe preventing it from changing too much. It implies holding on to something you already possess.
Okay, so you can retain physical things or qualities. Like a small town might work hard to retain its quiet charm even as it gets more popular.
Good one. Or an old house might retain its warmth well in winter.
Or, less pleasant, some fabrics just seem to retain odors no matter what you do.
Ah, yes. Or a company might decide to retain its original logo for nostalgic reasons. An artist might choose to retain the original texture of a piece of wood they're working with.
So keeping existing features, what about less tangible things?
Well, you try to retain your composure during a really difficult meeting, right? Keep your cool.
Definitely. Or we all struggle sometimes to retain information from a long presentation, keeping it in your head.
Right. Or think about soil types. Some soils retain water really well. They hold on to moisture.
And some materials are designed to retain heat.
Exactly. Or the core values of a community can retain their importance over generations. Someone might manage to retain their sense of humor even when things get tough, holding on to that quality.
So it's about holding on to abstract things too. Composure, information, heat, values, humor. And what about systems or people?
Absolutely. Companies focus a lot on how to retain talented employees, keeping them from leaving.
Right. Or a new law might ensure that citizens can retain certain rights they already had.
Yes, or an individual might hope to retain their independence as they get older, keeping that freedom.
So retain covers holding on to physical stuff, abstract qualities, knowledge, and even people or rights within a system or just in life. It's all about preventing loss or change.
Yes, it's that act of holding on, or sometimes an inherent quality of holding on. Which brings us to retention, the noun form.
Okay, so if retain is the action, retention is the act itself, or the ability to do it.
Exactly. It's the act or the capacity of keeping something. The state of continued possession, use, or control. It's the ability or process of holding on to things.
Like we hear about employee retention all the time in business. That's the company's effort or ability to keep its staff.
Precisely. Or customer retention strategies for keeping customers loyal.
A sports team might focus on the retention of its key players.
Right. That's all about keeping people. Then there's information.
Like memory retention, trying to improve how well you remember things.
Yep. Or businesses have data retention policies, rules about how long they have to keep digital records.
And back to physical properties again.
Sure, the retention of water in soil is crucial for farming. Engineers might talk about maximum heat retention in designing insulation.
Or a clothing company might advertise the excellent color retention of a fabric, meaning it doesn't fade.
Exactly. Those describe a material's inherent ability to hold on to something. And again, it applies conceptually too.
Such as
The retention of cultural heritage can be seen as vital for a nation's identity. Emergency services need to ensure the retention of critical skills among their teams, or the philosophical importance of the retention of personal freedom.
Okay, so retention is the state or the capacity, the ability to hold on, while retain is the verb, the doing of the holding. Makes sense.
They definitely work hand in hand to describe keeping something from being lost or changed. All right, finally, let's look at a phrase that gives a really strong visual. Soak up. It's phrasal verb.
Soak up. Yeah, I immediately picture a sponge. It means absorbing liquid, right?
All right.
But also light, knowledge, atmosphere.
That's the core idea. And importantly, it often implies a really deep experience, taking something in fully, almost immersing yourself in it.
Okay, so not just surface level.
No, it suggests complete absorption. The literal uses are pretty clear. A sponge soaking up a spill.
Or a paper towel designed to soak up grease.
Right. Rich soil helps soak up heavy rain. Plants need to soak up sunlight for energy. That's straightforward physical absorption.
But the metaphorical uses are where it gets really versatile, I guess.
Absolutely. That's where it really shines. Like when you travel, you try to soak up the local culture.
You're not literally drinking it, but you're trying to absorb it, understand it deeply.
Exactly. Or sitting in the sun to soak up the warmth. It's more than just feeling warm. It's absorbing that feeling, that comfort.
You can soak up an atmosphere too, right? Like going to a quiet cafe just to soak up the peaceful vibe.
Yes. Or wandering through ancient ruins to soak up the sense of history. Tourists might rush around trying to soak up the unique energy of a city. You can even soak up the energy from a crowd at a concert.
And what about information or ideas?
Definitely. Spending all day trying to soak up information before an exam implies really intense study, trying to absorb it all.
Or going to art galleries to soak up inspiration.
Yeah, absorbing creative energy and ideas. An audience might soak up every word of a captivating speech, meaning they're paying deep attention and taking it all in. A student might quickly soak up a new language or skill, meaning they learn it fast and thoroughly.
So it's like mental or creative absorption. What about feelings or senses?
For sure. A warm bath helps you soak up a relaxing scent. When you travel, you might try to just stand still and soak up the local sounds and smells, really immersing your senses.
Or sitting by the ocean to soak up the feeling of calm?
Or maybe just soaking up the silence at home after a really busy week, absorbing that peace.
Can you soak up abstract things like perspectives?
I think so. Someone might take a sabbatical to travel and try to soak up new perspectives on life, meaning they want to fully understand and internalize different viewpoints.
Or even just taking a moment to soak up a beautiful view, fully appreciating it.
Exactly. It's such a great phrase because it conveys that sense of complete, deep, often enjoyable absorption. It's taking something in fully, physically, mentally, or emotionally.
Wow. From sponges to culture to peacefulness. Soak up really does cover a lot of ground with that idea of deep absorption. So quite a journey today. We went from remote places and chances,
To restoring paintings and trust.
then retaining charm and employees.
And finally, soaking up sunshine and knowledge.
It really underscores how much meaning is packed into words we might not think twice about.
Yeah, understanding these nuances like remote meaning more than just far, or what restoring really implies, or the difference between retain and retention, it just helps us communicate more clearly.
And maybe understand others better too by catching those subtle meanings. It sharpens our sense of language.
Definitely. It's like fine-tuning our understanding of the tools we use to think and talk about the world.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener.
Yeah, something to mull over. Now that we've unpacked these words a bit, start noticing them. How often do you hear or use remote, restore, retain, or soak up? Do you hear those different shades of meaning we talked about?
And maybe think about your own life right now. What knowledge or experiences are you actively trying to soak up?
Or what important qualities, relationships, or maybe freedoms are you consciously working to retain? What needs restoration, perhaps?
Just some things to think about as you go. That's it for this deep dive.
Until next time.